Welcome to the Saanich Peninsula Chamber of Commerce Trade Committee. And it's a place where we are trying to have businesses, organizations, experts like John Treleaven speak to this tariff war that we're in with the US. There are so many opinions. There's so much frustration. There's so much angst. And I can't wait to hear your opinions, John, about this trade war in a sort of a, little capsule sort of way. We'll get you on many more times. You are such an experienced person at this. You've worked around the world in different trade offices. I can't wait to hear your opinion. Thanks for joining us.
Well, a pleasure, John, and congratulations on the Trade Committee. Neither of us have ever been in this position before. We will have much more sympathy for people who were living ordinary lives in 1917 and in 1939 or 1938. And we find ourselves in what the Wall Street Journal has described as the dumbest trade war ever. I agree with the Wall Street Journal. Just want to say a couple things. One, governments cannot create jobs. They create the conditions in which businesses can be created. Secondly, companies don't create jobs. Never in the history of business did the CEO ever receive an order from the chairman of the board to go hire people. Customers create jobs. Tariffs stand between business enterprises and their customer base and generally disrupt everything that they can possibly disrupt. There's never been a job created by a tariff that lasted longer than the tariff lasted. It's completely nuts. My sort of disappointment with the way we have approached the situation is that we've been too often, we've actually taken words from the White House as if they meant it, as if there actually was a fentanyl problem on the border. There wasn't. The idiocy of the position that we have been put in. 80% of the jobs in the United States are in the service economy. 8% of the jobs in the United States are in manufacturing.
I didn't know that. That's huge.
Yeah. And guess what? The Americans are extremely good at service exports.
Yeah.
They have a huge surplus in service exports. And by the way, service exports are jobs at home. Like, that's the way it works. So we're shadowboxing. We're being brought into a boxing ring that's completely gaslit by falsehoods and trying to navigate our way through. One of the first things I looked at when the war was declared was, have we done a study on exports from Canada to the United States for which the United States cannot find a substitute supplier? And by the time you include oil, potash, uranium, electricity, and many other products, most of our exports to the United States have inelastic demand. That all is true, of course, for the automotive industry as well.
John, what does inelastic demand mean?
Means that the customers need the product and there's no other source of the product.
Thank you. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And for example, potash. Okay. Iowa farmers need Canadian potash. It is the crack cocaine of the fertilizer industry. Saskatchewan has a 300-year supply. And in terms of uranium exports from Saskatchewan generate up to 20% of the electricity in the United States. You remember how anxious the White House got when Doug Ford said he might dim the lights in 1.5 million houses?
Yeah.
Think about 20% of the homes in the United States. We're never going to do that. Don't get me wrong. But the whole debate is it's all fabricated, it's all political. But the problem for all of us, John, and especially businesses that are so export focused in this region, but the country, is real damage is being done.
So John, what would be, briefly,
Yeah.
some solutions that you could suggest to businesses who are going to suffer and who are already suffering from tariff, i.e., business blockade from the U.S. market?
Okay, well, obviously seeking new markets, going in other directions. The most important thing that has happened in the last 48 or 72 hours in Canada is that it is now clear to everybody that we must have internal free trade, and we must have it now.
Right?
There's no question about it.
Right.
And now, don't get me wrong, for a BC, an island company, to ship a product to Alberta, that takes effort. You got to find the customer. You got to do all the other usual things. Now, so changing the customer base, staying in touch with your U.S. customers. I mean, those are relationships of trust. There's no trust between the two governments, but
Yeah.
between a supplier here in the Saanich Peninsula and a company in Yorba Linda, California, there's a lot of trust.
Yeah.
Don't disrupt that.
How about these buy local and buy Canada
Oh,
initiatives?
totally, completely,
Hey?
absolutely.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
this is one of those rare times when state-sponsored monopolies in Canada play to our advantage, and I'm talking about the provincial liquor monopolies. Absolutely. Oh yeah, and in our daily lives, I am death against reciprocal tariffs from Canada, because that our logic with the United States is that the tariffs that Trump imposes, the Americans pay the tariff. Okay, I agree. Then why would we impose reciprocal tariffs, which Canadians pay? But the way we shop, who we buy, oh, no question about it. And again, if you combine a buy Canadian, I'm talking Canadian, this is, Alberta is a Canadian province. It's not island beautiful, it's Canada beautiful. And just as businesses are having to change their supply chains, consumers can, with perfect free trade, enjoy the products of markets of suppliers they've never thought of.
Yeah. Well,
And part of the problem in Canada, and you'll know this very well, because we have had 10 or 13 balkanized markets, however you count up the territories, it means that businesses in this country, most of which 98% are tiny, they're not small, they're tiny, even those with really good ideas have trouble growing until somebody buys them from the United States.
yeah.
Why isn't the Ontario company thinking about buying or partnering with them? Because they don't know the company exists, because the company can't trade in Ontario.
Well, I think that's going to change. John, this has been wonderful, and I might add, I wish and I hope that this becomes a regular series. We need to have these things explained. Not that we're dumb or anything, but they're complicated, and we need to understand the way money flows.
Right.
So, on behalf of the Trade Committee, of which I hope you'll become a member, and anyone else who'd like to join us and have these discussions, I'm going to be talking to you on a regular basis. Thank you very much for these explanations today.
The Trump version of the Punch and Judy show, the puppet show Trump is hitting himself, and the Americans are hitting themselves on the side of the face with their tariffs, and they're challenging us to do the same thing. That's why I don't like reciprocal tariffs. And Punch and Judy only works if you're punching each other. Reciprocal tariffs and tariffs in general, you punch yourself in the face. We don't need that.
That's a great end, my friend.